Hello, my name is Lisa Coggins, and I am doing the interactive resume part for Module 5. Okay, my name is Lisa Coggins, and I'm highly qualified in English and in social studies. I currently teach 7th grade English in a traditional brick and mortar school, and I teach high school English and world history at a virtual school. I've been teaching at the traditional school for almost 5 years and almost 1 year at the virtual school. Okay. My first question, how would I accommodate and address the online needs of my students that are not keeping up with the online pace? Well, the first thing that I would do would be to contact the student and the parent, either by phone or email, preferably by phone, just to see what's going on. I mean, there's always the possibility that there's something going on in the student's life that's interfering with their educational experience. If during the phone call it was discovered that everything was okay, meaning nothing tragic, then I would set about discussing a plan to get the student back on track. For example, if it seemed like organization was an issue, then we could discuss setting aside certain days for certain classes. So like on Monday, work on science. On Tuesday, work on math. But before I set anything out, I would ask the student why they think that they are getting behind and what I could do to help them to get back on track. I would do that because I want the student to try to figure out an answer without me immediately coming to the rescue. I'm kind of a strong believer in kids taking responsibility for their own education, or at least playing a role in their education. I would then discuss with the students and their parents a way to help them get their assignments done, to include modifications, maybe cutting down the amount of work or the number of questions required, whatever. My main concern would be that the student is still in the game. If not, I would need to work to get them to buy into whatever I am trying, or whatever we are trying to get worked out for them. Although they may be hesitant for whatever reason in the beginning, it's their education, so they really do hold the key. So I need them to kind of make sure that they're buying into the plan. All right, my second question, how do I arrange my schedule to be available for a 24/7 learner? Well, the first thing that I'd want to find out is the working habits and the availability of my students. If there's a majority of students who are up and online in the evening hours, I need to make myself available during those hours. Same thing goes for morning. But since it's not humanly possible to be everything to everybody, I would have to find a balance between the two that meet the needs for the majority of my students, and then work on a plan to target those kids that have off hours or unusual circumstances. In addition, I would also need to set office hours so students would know when I would be available for assistance. Written responses would need to happen in a very short turnaround time, as kids expect to hear back from their teachers right away. They think if they're online, then their teachers should be online and are online. Face-to-face sessions would also need to be a necessity, likely several times a week. Not all of them would need to be mandatory. It would just depend on the needs of my students. For students that needed more contact or more face-to-face time, then I would need to work something out with those kids. There would be a definite need for my students to know that I was there for them academically. And then my last question, how can I make sure that all of my online learners are successful? The big important thing, the one important point for me would be that building of a sense of community. For a lot of students, learning is not just about the academics, but it's also about the social aspects. I know that not everybody's crazy about carrying on with their classmates, but I think that we all want to know that we're not alone in the boat. For a student, knowing that there are people out there that they can reach out to if they're having a problem with an assignment can be very reassuring. By setting up some social interaction opportunities in my class, I can make that sense of community happen. Another thing that I could do to help my students be successful is get to know them. I need to focus on making sure that we cover the material that they're going to need to pass my class. And if they need any extra help, any background information, if they're kind of lacking on some content material, not content material, but if they're lacking on just kind of the foundation ideas, I need to try to cover that. And all that without overwhelming them or making them just feel overloaded. In order for my students to be successful, I think I also need to make sure that they're familiar with the technology that they're going to have to use in the course. If my students are frazzled and frustrated from dealing with computer issues, it's unlikely that I'm really going to get their best efforts when it comes to my assignments. And I can kind of say that from a personal point of view. Technology makes me crazy sometimes, but there's such a sense of yes when I finally get it figured out, and then I can kind of go on and deal with the important things. So I think making sure that my students kind of have that yes moment is going to help them be successful in the overall scheme of things in the content material. All right, well, that is the end of my interactive resume. Thank you so much.